So I love exclusive unseen footage. This is unseen footage of astronauts falling on the moon. Or is it on the moon? Maybe it's at some movie set. You know how the conspiracy theories are, right? This is on the NASA Apollo space mission. Let's check it out.
So, dadgummit. Jack Schmidt having a few problems.
Comical as these recordings of astronauts falling on the moon may seem, they were actually carried out under mission orders and were of valuable importance to NASA's research endeavors. During Apollo 15, astronauts were conducting experiments on metabolic rates across various types of lunar terrain, and during Apollo 16, the falls took place while testing differences in locomotion on the moon and Earth. Adding to the unexpected seriousness of the footage, one of these falls threatened the life of astronaut Charles Duke, who came close to cracking his suit and exposing himself to the vacuum of space. Why?
Now, that just took a serious turn that I didn't see coming at all. I thought this was just something we was going to find, funny, be able to laugh together, find a good chuckle, Dang, that just took a turn.
Why astronauts fall. The haphazard movement of Apollo astronauts on the moon is a product of it having only 1/6 of the Earth's gravity. While a body weighs less on the moon, it still has the same mass, which means that the body's inertia, or resistance to changes in motion, stays linked to its mass, rather than changing with the reduced weight. The experience of walking on the moon, therefore, feels unreal and uncomfortable for moonwalkers. In particular, astronaut Buzz Aldrin described the experience of putting a foot down on the satellite as walking on, quote, moist talcum powder. Even within months of non-stop intensive training, the astronauts struggled not only with the conditions of gravity, but also with their spacesuits. Although their spacesuits no longer weighed the 300 pounds they did on Earth, they were still stiff and unwieldy. Many irregular actions, such as bending down to pick up an object, would only result in a fall.
I've always wondered that too, like, why we aren't, and then I saw it on a video recently, they are looking for more funding to do something to possibly reduce the size of these NASA spacesuits and different things like that. So they're trying to get the money. I don't think they have all the funding to be able to do it, but the main thing is they are trying to figure out ways to downsize and decrease the size of those suits, man, because it looks like a lot to don or put on.
So the astronauts had to use tools for many simple tasks while wearing them. Additionally, in order to crouch, they would need to hop first and then use the landing to compress their suits. NASA investigations. Starting with the first moon landing in July of 1969, NASA became deeply interested in the mobility of men on the moon, and for the first time, real data on the matter could be collected. For the entirety of the Apollo era, NASA dedicated resources to study and analyze the falls of astronauts on the moon so it could assess the dexterity of people outside of Earth. Scientists worried about the flexibility of suits, whether astronauts could handle key equipment while wearing spacesuits, and which techniques would be best to prepare for before going to the moon. By studying the movement and the failures of movement on the moon, NASA scientists could address these concerns. The subject of moon falls was taken seriously, preserved not only in footage but in detailed documents. One of the reports in the matter about Commander David Scott from the Apollo 15 mission reads as follows, quote, "He begins moving toward a new area as he gives the camera reading and summarizes the description of the area. He steps around a group of rock fragments, and then his right foot steps into a small depression, and he begins to lose his balance. As he steps with his left foot, it slides off a small rock and continues sliding on the loose surface soil. While trying to drive his feet back under his center of gravity, Scott increases his forward velocity. He then falls forward with both hands extended to break the fall. Landing on his left side, he rolls counterclockwise and on his back, and is then out of view of the TV camera." The reports for the Apollo 16 mission were even more detailed, including analysis of why the fall happened, how it did, and how the astronaut returned to his feet. An aspect that scientists focused on was how mobility and energy would change with different movements. One of their findings was that skipping and walking, while requiring vastly different amounts of energy on Earth, required the same amount as each other on the moon. Another valuable conclusion that NASA made early on was that due to the slower falls, the astronauts had time to correct a slip or work on standing back up in case of a fall. Some of their conclusions were less helpful, such as stating that the number of falls were caused by loss of traction because of loose soil. One of the astronauts written about in these reports was Charles Duke, who was trying to lift a pair of dropped tongs when he stepped on them instead and lost his balance trying to pick them up. He fell face first, ironically, after he was trying to pick up the tongs to then pick up a hammer he had dropped a few moments before. That fall was relatively harmless, but during the Apollo 16 mission, he would take a fall that almost ended his life. Charles Duke's fall. Charles Duke and his commander John Young were on the moon in 1972, the same year as the Munich Olympics, and they decided that they wanted to perform what they called, quote, Moon Olympics. Thanks to low lunar gravity when compared to Earth, they hoped to achieve or best athletic Earth records during the last minutes of a spacewalk. This seemingly innocent decision put Duke at risk, who was only 36 years old at the time, the youngest person that had walked on the moon. They began by trying to take the highest jumps possible. Duke launched himself 4 feet above the lunar surface, an accomplishment he could have been proud of, except for the fact that he decided to straighten his body while in the air. His spacesuit weighed 50 pounds on the moon, far less than 300 on Earth, but still significantly heavy. More than half of this weight came from the backpack, which held his portable life support system.
Listen, I can't judge him, bro. Because I'm sitting here thinking, if the Olympics was going on and I'm going to the moon, landing on the moon, I'm the youngest, I'd have probably had that idea as well. Let's do some moon Olympics. So I can't really judge him on that because I'm sitting there thinking to myself, putting myself in his shoes. I'd have did the same thing. I'd have came up with that same idea and probably almost took myself out too.
Any damage to the backpack could prove fatal. This heavy weight completely changed his balance and pulled him down, with the backpack headed to take the crash of landing on the ground directly. As Duke himself has stated, quote, "The backpack weighed as much as I did, so I went over backwards. It's a fiberglass shell, and it contained all your life support systems. If it broke, I was dead." The astronaut has expressed that he felt extreme distress as soon as he realized the implications of landing with all his weight on the backpack. Thankfully, as NASA studies had recorded, falling on the moon is slow and gives the astronaut time to react before crashing. Duke rolled to the right, breaking the fall, but the rolling motion did make him bounce. Commander John Young approached him, knowing that if the life support system failed, he would have to carry an unconscious Duke back to the module, who would likely perish before making it there. About the moment, Duke recalled in an interview, quote, "My heart was pounding. John Young, my commander, came over and looked down and says, 'That wasn't very smart, Charlie.' And I said, 'Help me up, John.' And I got real quiet." After standing up with assistance, he made sure that everything was in order and still working. He had endured the fall without damaging his spacesuit. As entertaining or amusing as footage of falling astronauts may appear, moonfalling does carry real risk.
Charlie, that ain't any fun, is it? That ain't very smart. Well.
So next up, we have some alleged CIA documents that reveals they found this on Mars in 1984. Let's check this one out.
In the realm of government secrets, declassified CIA documents often reveal intriguing and sometimes bizarre stories that blur the lines between science fiction and reality. One such document from the now declassified Project Stargate details a remote viewing session in which a subject claimed to witness pyramids and shadow people on Mars. This particular remote viewing event has captured the imagination of historical researchers, paranormal researchers, and UFO enthusiasts. But what makes this case so fascinating is not only the otherworldly content, but also the fact that it was part of an official government program. Back in 1984, a member of Project Stargate was abruptly awakened from a slumber and presented with a hermetically sealed package that remained inaccessible until the conclusion of a following observation session, during which his colleague verbally provided him with the coordinates to observe. Shortly thereafter, the individual began doing astral projections to an unknown location on Mars. This has been labeled by researchers as one of the most famous documents to emerge from Project Stargate. This was not just a simple attempt to see the current Martian landscape. The remote viewer was asked to go back in time, about 1 million years, and describe what they witnessed. The session began with the remote viewer describing a vast, barren landscape, much like the modern Mars that NASA rovers explore today, But as the session continued, things took a stranger turn. The remote viewer started to describe enormous pyramidal structures, some partially buried in the Martian soil. These pyramids were reminiscent of those found in Egypt, leading to speculation that there might have been an ancient civilization on Mars. As the remote viewer traveled through the Martian landscape, they reported seeing massive geological upheavals and violent storms. According to the subject, the once thriving environment had been ravaged by catastrophic changes, possibly related to Mars's transformation from a potentially habitable planet to the cold desert it is today. But the most curious part of the session came when the remote viewer claimed to encounter shadowy humanoid figures. These shadow people, as they have come to be called, were described as tall, thin beings, possibly the remnants of an ancient Martian race. According to the remote viewer, these beings were aware of their impending doom and were in search of a way to escape their dying planet. This CIA document is a transcript of an interview. It reads as follows. Method of site acquisition. Sealed envelope coupled with geographic coordinates. The sealed envelope was given to the subject immediately prior to the interview. The envelope was not opened until after the interview. In the envelope was a 3x5 card with the following information. The planet Mars, time of interest approximately 1 million years BC. Selected geographic coordinates, provided by the parties requesting the information, were verbally given to the subject during the interview. Using the information in the envelope I've provided, exclusively focusing your attention, using the information in the envelope, focus on 4089 degrees north and 9 degrees west. I want to say it looks like an oblique view of a pyramid, or pyramid form. It's very high and it's kind of sitting in a large depressed area. All right, move in time to the time indicated in the envelope I've provided you and describe what's happening. I'm tracking severe clouds, more like dust storms. It's geologic problem. Just a minute, I've got to iron this out. It's really weird. Just report your raw perceptions at this time. You're still early in the session. I'm looking at an after effect of a major geologic problem. Okay, go back to the time before the geologic problem. It's like mountains of dirt appear and then disappear when you go before. There's large flat surfaces, very smooth angles and walls. They're really large, they're megalithic. At this period in time now before the geologic activity, look around this area and see if you can find any activity. I'm seeing shadow people, very tall and thin. It's as if they were there and now they are not. Go back to a period of time when they were there. It's like I get a lot of static on a line and everything is breaking up all the time. Very fragmented pieces. Just report the raw data, don't try to put things together. I just keep seeing very large people. They appear thin and tall, but they're very large and wearing some kind of strange clothes.
So possibly aliens, possibly giants. We can argue between the two, right? But do y'all not see the similarities between Mars and our planets? The pyramids, the buildings, the structures, the designs. That's why I always say, is Mars an accurate depiction of what we're going to look like one day? Like, are we following in Mars's footsteps, our planet here? Or is Mars gonna look like us one day? And see, we talked about that before, about what we've seen on Mars, the pictures that have come back, whether or not those were volcanoes, or somebody had made the pointed out that it could possibly be pyramids. So, this is interesting. I don't know. I don't know. This is interesting.
All right, now holding in this time period, I want to move you from your physical location in space to another physical location. I'm now inside a cavern, but it's more like a canyon. I'm looking up the sides of a steep wall that seems to go on forever, and there's like a structure with another wall like a canyon that has been carved. Again, I'm getting very large structures, huge sections of smooth stone. Do the structures have insides and outsides? Yes, there are lots of corners and rooms. It's really huge. The perception is that the ceiling is really high. The claims made during this remote viewing session naturally sparked considerable speculation, particularly among those interested in extraterrestrial life and ancient astronaut theories. The idea that Mars could have supported intelligent life millions of years ago has long been a topic of discussion in both scientific and fringe communities. The pyramids described in the session bear a striking resemblance to the Cydonia region of Mars, where some enthusiasts believe artificial structures, including what appears to be a face on Mars and pyramidal formations, can be seen in satellite images. Although NASA has consistently dismissed these formations as natural geological features, the notion that Mars may have once been home to an advanced civilization persists. The description of shadow people, massive megalithic structures and pyramids also connects to various accounts of paranormal phenomena here on Earth. Shadow figures have been reported in countless hauntings and unexplained sightings throughout human history. The fact that the US government, through Project Stargate, took remote viewing seriously enough to explore not only Earth-bound locations, but also distant planets and ancient time periods is fascinating in itself. While Project Stargate's results were officially deemed inconclusive or unreliable, the decision to include Mars in a remote viewing session suggests that the government was open to testing the limits of what the human mind could perceive, even beyond the Earth. It is worth noting that other declassified documents from Project Stargate involved more traditional military targets, such as Soviet submarines and missile silos, but the Mars session stands out due to its sheer otherworldliness. The government's willingness to explore such possibilities demonstrates the depth of Cold War-era experimentation with unorthodox intelligence-gathering techniques. Astral projection, often described as the ability to consciously separate the astral body from the physical body, has fascinated humanity for millennia. Also known as an out-of-body experience, astral projection allows individuals to transcend the boundaries of their physical existence and explore a higher plane of consciousness, traveling through space and time. While skeptics may view it as an imaginative or psychological phenomenon, those who have experienced astral projection describe it as a genuine and profoundly transformative experience. For believers, astral projection offers a gateway to realms beyond the material world, where spiritual growth, expanded consciousness, and the discovery of universal truths await. Astral projection refers to the process of consciously entering the astral plane, a dimension that exists beyond the physical world, according to many metaphysical traditions. While the body remains in a relaxed state, often during sleep or deep meditation, the individual's astral body or consciousness separates from the physical self and embarks on a journey. This astral body is said to be a subtle, non-physical counterpart that can move freely, unrestricted by the laws of the material world. People who practice astral projection often report vivid sensations during their experiences, including the feeling of floating above their own body, seeing their physical form from an external perspective, and moving through space or other realms at will. Astral travelers describe visiting distant locations, encountering spiritual beings, and sometimes accessing higher dimensions or planes of existence filled with light and divine energy. The process of astral projection requires a deep state of relaxation and a focused mind. Techniques vary, but they often involve meditation, controlled breathing, and visualization exercises designed to help the individual transition from the waking state to the astral plane. Once on the astral plane, the individual is free to explore, communicate with spiritual guides, and gain insights into their life and the nature of the universe. Astral projection is not a modern phenomenon. It has been documented throughout history in a wide range of spiritual and mystical traditions. Ancient cultures believed that humans could access higher realms of consciousness and communicate with the spiritual world through astral travel. In ancient Egypt, the ka was considered the spiritual double of the physical body, capable of leaving the body during sleep or meditation and traveling through the afterlife. The Tibetan Buddhists practiced a form of astral travel known as dream yoga, where practitioners used lucid dreaming techniques to navigate different planes of existence and reach enlightenment.
The crazy part about that reminds me of like listening to certain cultures, how they go into this deep meditation state to the point to where it's like their body dies, but some of them still believe that that person is alive. They're just gone. They're so much in that state that they've gone off to do whatever they're going to do. And if they decided to come back to that body one day, then they'll just wake up from it. So that begs the question, like with death, like it just opens up a world of questions for me with things like this. You know, I've never done meditation or anything like that. But this is so powerful and interesting to me. You know, even when you watch The Matrix and they lay them back and put the little thing in the back, they go into that state. That state.
In Hinduism, the concept of the astral body is central to the belief in reincarnation. The astral body is said to be the vehicle that carries the soul between different lifetimes. This spiritual body, free from the physical constraints of the earthly world, is thought to be a reflection of the soul's true nature, connecting the individual to higher levels of consciousness. The Kabbalistic tradition also embraces the idea of astral projection, referring to it as Merkaba, or the mystical chariot that transports individuals to the higher realms of divine knowledge. Similarly, shamanistic cultures across the world have used out-of-body experiences as a means of communicating with spirits, ancestors, and divine beings to gain insight and healing. In modern times, astral projection has gained renewed interest among spiritual seekers, mystics, and those interested in exploring consciousness beyond the material world. Many practitioners use astral projection as a tool for personal growth and self-discovery, exploring the unseen dimensions of existence and gaining spiritual wisdom. One of the most prominent figures in the modern study of astral projection was Robert Monroe, whose books such as Journeys Out of the Body and Far Journeys have become foundational texts in understanding the practice. Monroe's own experiences with astral projection led him to develop a system of techniques for inducing out-of-body experience and exploring the far reaches of the astral plane. He founded the Monroe Institute, a research and educational organization dedicated to studying altered states of consciousness, including astral projection and other related phenomena. Monroe's work helped to demystify astral projection for many, providing a practical framework for those interested in exploring the astral realms. He suggested that the ability to astral project is natural to all humans and can be developed with practice and intention. Today, numerous communities of astral projectors exist, sharing their experiences, techniques, and insights. Many practitioners claim that astral projection allows them to connect with their higher selves, access spiritual guidance, and gain a greater understanding of their purpose in life. The experience often brings a deep sense of peace, healing, and clarity. While astral projection remains outside the bounds of mainstream science, some researchers have investigated the phenomenon. The Monroe Institute has conducted experiments using sound technology, such as hemisync, designed to facilitate altered states of consciousness and promote out-of-body experiences. Participants report vivid and transformative experiences, though the scientific community has yet to definitively prove astral projection's existence. The Global Consciousness Project, which tracks shifts in collective consciousness through random event generators, has also shown intriguing correlations between human consciousness and global events. While not directly linked to astral projection, this research suggests that consciousness might extend beyond the physical brain, supporting the idea that human awareness can transcend physical boundaries. From a metaphysical standpoint, astral projection is seen as a way to access the astral plane, an intermediary realm between the physical world and the spiritual dimensions. The astral plane is thought to be home to spiritual beings, guides, and even souls between incarnations. Those who regularly practice astral projection claim to have encountered beings of light, communicated with deceased loved ones, and gained profound insights into the nature of existence. For those who experience it, astral projection offers many benefits, both spiritual and psychological. It can deepen one's sense of connection to the universe, providing a first-hand understanding of the spiritual realms and the nature of consciousness. Some practitioners use astral travel to heal emotional wounds, overcome fears, and face unresolved issues from their past. Others seek spiritual enlightenment or use the practice to develop psychic abilities such as intuition or clairvoyance. Astral projection also fosters a deeper sense.
Now, that's something I didn't expect to hear. Because I stay away from the whole psychic and all of that type of world. I stay away from that, you know? So I didn't expect to hear. So maybe I need to be more open to that. But I feel like it's just a bunch of people scamming you, man, and it's hard for you to tell the difference between the two. I don't know. Maybe I have to open my mind up to that world now.
Sense of self-awareness. The experience of leaving the body can help individuals recognize the limitations of physical existence and the boundless nature of the soul. This awareness often leads to a profound shift in perspective, reducing fear of death and enhancing one's appreciation for life. Astral projection and lucid dreaming are two distinct but closely related phenomena, both offering experiences that take the individual beyond the limits of physical reality. Many people who practice astral projection also explore lucid dreaming, as both involve a heightened state of awareness and the ability to navigate realms of consciousness outside the normal waking state. The techniques for inducing both experiences often overlap, and some practitioners find that their astral journeys begin in a lucid dream state. Understanding the connection between astral projection and lucid dreaming offers deeper insight into the nature of consciousness and the potential for exploring alternate realities. Lucid dreaming is the state in which a person becomes fully aware that they are dreaming and can exert control over the dream environment. Unlike regular dreams, where events unfold without the dreamer's conscious intervention, a lucid dreamer can make decisions, manipulate the dreamscape, and engage in intentional actions. This conscious awareness within the dream state allows for rich, vivid experiences that feel as real as waking life. Lucid dreaming can be triggered spontaneously or through specific techniques. Common methods include reality checks, asking oneself during the day whether they are dreaming, and keeping a dream journal to enhance dream recall. Once lucid, dreamers can explore their internal landscapes, overcome nightmares, or even practice creative problem-solving in a dream environment. Many practitioners use lucid dreaming as a gateway to spiritual or psychological insights, similar to how astral projection is used to access higher planes of existence. While astral projection and lucid dreaming are often treated as separate phenomena, they share significant common ground. Both involve a shift in consciousness, taking the individual beyond the ordinary waking state and into realms where the laws of physics and time do not apply. Furthermore, in both states, individuals report heightened sensory experiences, intense emotions, and a feeling of profound freedom. In lucid dreaming, the dreamer remains within a construct of their own subconscious mind. The dream environment is personal, shaped by the dreamer's thoughts, memories, and desires. In contrast, astral projection involves traveling to what practitioners describe as a real external dimension, the astral plane, that exists independently of the dreamer's mind. However, the boundary between these two experiences can be blurred. Some astral travelers find that their journeys begin within a lucid dream, where they become aware that they are dreaming and then consciously shift into the astral plane. In this state, the dreamer can deliberately leave their dream body and enter the astral body, transitioning from the dream realm to the astral realm. This transition is often accompanied by specific sensations such as vibrations, feelings of floating, or even hearing distinct sounds that signal the separation of the astral body from the physical body. Because of the similarity between the states of lucid dreaming and astral projection, individuals who are adept at lucid dreaming often find it easier to achieve astral projection. Several techniques can help transition from a lucid dream to an astral projection. Once lucid in a dream, a practitioner can set the intention to leave the dream realm and enter the astral plane. This may involve visualizing oneself rising out of the dream body or focusing on a point of light to draw the consciousness away from the dream and into the astral state. In a lucid dream, spinning in place or focusing on the sensation of movement can help facilitate the transition to astral projection. This technique helps break the connection with the dream environment and shifts the individual into the astral body. Many lucid dreamers experiment with flying or floating, as these actions often lead to a sensation of leaving the physical body behind. By focusing on the intention to float out of the body, a dreamer can sometimes transition into an astral journey. Practicing meditation while in a lucid dream state can deepen the experience and shift the consciousness into the astral realm. Dreamers who sit in meditation during a lucid dream may find themselves entering a state of heightened awareness, leading to astral travel. Once the transition to astral projection occurs, the experience becomes markedly different from lucid dreaming. Astral travelers describe a distinct shift in the quality of the environment. They report a clarity and vividness in the astral plane that surpasses even the most intense lucid dreams. The astral plane is often described as feeling realer than real, with an energetic quality that sets it apart from the dream world. Both lucid dreaming and astral projection offer unique opportunities for spiritual exploration and personal growth. Many individuals use lucid dreaming to confront fears, explore their subconscious mind, or practice creative problem-solving. Because the dream environment reflects the dreamer's inner world, lucid dreaming can be a powerful tool for self-awareness and psychological healing. In astral projection, the focus often shifts towards spiritual discovery. Astral travelers describe encounters with spiritual guides, angelic beings, or deceased loved ones. These experiences can provide profound insights into the nature of the self, the afterlife, and the universe. Some practitioners use astral projection to explore past lives, access divine wisdom, or connect with higher planes of existence that are said to be beyond the reach of ordinary human consciousness. Interestingly, many who practice both lucid dreaming and astral projection find that the two states complement one another. Lucid dreaming can be a gateway to astral projection, while experiences on the astral plane often deepen the dreamer's understanding of their inner world and spiritual journey. Both practices foster a greater sense of empowerment, as individuals realize that their consciousness is not bound by the limitations of the physical body or the waking world. As of right now, astral projection and lucid dreaming share a fascinating connection, both offering profound experiences that challenge conventional ideas of reality. While lucid dreaming allows individuals to explore their inner landscapes with conscious awareness, astral projection takes this journey further, opening the door to external realms of existence beyond the physical world. The fluidity between these states of consciousness suggests that human awareness is far more expansive than we often realize, capable of transcending physical, mental, and temporal limitations.